ooka chaka, ooka, ooka, ooka chaka, ooka, ooka, ooka chaka, ooka, ooka. I'm gonna feel it, wap, wap, wap. I'm high on believing, wap, wap, wow, that you're all in love with me. I'm hooked on a feeling, ah. Woo! Hey everyone. I love this thing. Now, let's see what's going on here. Hold it right there. You dare break into this area. Oh, easy, easy there, partner, easy. I don't want any trouble here. Don't want any trouble. I'm just here to do my thing. Well, what is your name? My name is Michael A. Grimm, and I don't want any trouble here, okay? You come with me. I may have some questions for you. No, wait a minute. I go by another name. What is your name? I'm multi-voice reviewer. Who? Multi-voice reviewer, man. I mean, come on. Internet reviewer? Guy who does all the voices while he's reviewing franchises? Anybody? Never mind. Okay, I said it. Can I get my $50 now? Not now, Master Chief. Just right after this review. Hey, everybody. I wanted to do that joke. I mean, heck, I wanted to do that joke on the radio, but sadly, he was afraid that nobody don't even get it. But this is true, folks. I'm going to review Guardians of the... Wait, I already reviewed that. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's right. I got the movie. And thanks to Master Chief, who, doing his part. So, I had to admit, when I first did my first review of Guardians of the Galaxy, I wasn't that good. I mean, the only problem I had is trying to remember everybody's name. I always kept on saying this blue bald girl, the blue guy with the mullet, or... I mean, I remember a few characters. So I decided to, make it right. But first, a little history. Now, I had to admit, Guardians of the Galaxy was a really great movie ever made. And of course, you always have these guys. Star-Lord, aka Peter Quill. Drax the Destroyer. Gamora, I finally got her name right. Groot, I am Groot. And Rocket Raccoon. Don't call me a raccoon! That's what he said. And of course, you have Benicio del Toro as the Collector. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's an alien from another galaxy who likes to collect things from other planets. And he keeps them as his trophies, both living or dead. That's why he always keeps finding things from other planets and sort of like create his own museum. And of course, there's a cameo of Howard the Duck, voiced by Seth Green. Thanos, played by Josh Brolin himself. Now, let's see. Give me a second here, folks. What was it? Yeah, and the war between the Kree and... And of course, I also remember that planet now. The planet owned by the Nova Corps, called Xandar. I remember the first time I did my Guardians of the Galaxy review, I was sort of an eager person. I was really eager of reviewing it, even though I only watched it a couple of times, but I haven't get the name right back then. But as I watched it more, I finally got the name right this time. Even everybody remembers this. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. Listen to these words. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. And break it down hard. Someday, yeah, get together on the mythical sun. I'm distracting you, big turd blossom. I love the dance-off scene, especially on the bloopers, where now they're getting out of character and they all start dancing. Of course, James Bautista, who plays Drax the Destroyer, his moves are more like this. Ah, gee. I guess that's for people who don't have a rhythm. Always keep doing this. Ah, dear. But as for me, I got moves. Although I still think they should have played Footloose, since Peter Quill did tell Gamora about the story of Footloose, of a hero named Kevin Bacon. Even though he doesn't even know that Footloose was based on an actual event it really happened long ago. And the actress who plays Kevin Bacon's love interest, the real girl, died. Turns out in reality, she was a loose woman. But enough about Footloose, and if any of you want me to review Footloose, in due time. Right now I'm talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. What can you say? Actually, what can you say? Guardians of the Galaxy was a Marvel version to a sci-fi adventure, action, and also sometimes a thriller. And since the success from James Gunn, who made Guardians of the Galaxy, he decided to strike twice by have Volume 2 of Guardians of the Galaxy. And they also have a new member. This time, Nebula returned, and this time at first she tries to kill Gamora and the rest of the Guardians, but now she decided to help. And also this new girl here, played by this Asian French-Canadian actress. Yeah, she's French-Canadian. Named Palm. Can't pronounce her last name because it's beyond my pronouncing. But I say she's a really great actress. She plays a character named Mantis. Now, what she does is when she touches other people, she can share each other's emotions. Like right now, I'm really excited. I'm really excited and happy. So if Mantis touched my shoulder, she will feel the same emotion like I'm having. She'll be excited like I am. But Drax needs to stop saying that she's a puny little thing, saying that she's ugly. One thing I gotta say about Mantis, for an alien with antenna, she's pretty cute. Of course, I like the actress herself who played her. Yeah, some of you are gonna be saying to me and my Asian love. Ugh. But I don't know, I have a soft spot for Asian and I'm proud of it. Anyway, back to the thing, shall we? Not many people, it all started now. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot. Since Groot sacrificed himself, so now in the sequel, we have Baby Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. No! That would detonate it! Go again. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. No, that's the same button you hit! I am Groot! We're so dead. And of course you have Yondu here. Spoiler alert, it was really sad to see him die. yeah, for those of you who haven't watched it, sorry to tell you this, but Yondu dies. Now, of course, in this movie, they were supposed to be helping these gold-skinned, golden-haired... Well, one thing Rocket Raccoon was right about, they are considered nooch bags. I mean, I can't say the D word, so I prefer to call them nooch bags. And why nooch? Jay and Silent Bob. Snoochie boochie noochies! Of course, I don't approve their cussing. Just like what Chris Rock says. If you clean up your language, I just might be able to put a good word to you, too. Yo, I'm Jay. This is my hetero life mate, Silent Bob. Anyway, back to the review here. Anyway, those golden people that are called the Sovereigns, that's what they're called. Not to be confused with Sovereign from Mass Effect, but these golden alien people called Sovereigns. They take things way too seriously. And of course, Van Diesel himself, he's back doing the voice of Groot. Although you gotta feel sorry for Van Diesel, because the only lines he'll always keep saying is, I am Groot. I am Groot. And now he has to do the voice of Baby Groot, so they have to high-pitch his voice. But did you know that Van Diesel just, Van Diesel had to say I am Groot in different language? Me llamo es Groot. Yo soy Groot. Although in some languages, Groot means big. So it's kind of funny. And not many people know, according to comic book history, Groot was actually a villain. I'm not kidding. There was an old comic book back in Marvel where they made a giant tree monster, and his name was Groot. Except in the old comics, he didn't say, I am Groot. I mean, he speak perfect English. And then they killed him off by termites in the comic. So when they brought him back, they decided to make him an alien and let him be a good guy, and all he'll be saying is, I am Groot. Hey, it's just like what Rocket Raccoon says. Well, their speech impediment has always been I and am and Groot. And specifically in that order. So every time when they say, I am Groot, only Rocket understands what he's saying. And now I'm starting to notice that, Star-Lord is starting to understand him too. Actually, there's a whole lot more I gotta say about the difference between the comic books of Guardians of the Galaxy and the movie. Like, one thing I did notice, the difference between the comic books of Drax the Destroyer and Drax from the movie. Did you know that Drax was actually an Earthling to start with? Yeah, that's true. In the comic book, he was a normal, average guy who had a wife and daughter until they were destroyed by Thanos himself. But one of the aliens decided to bring him back, and they made him green, bald, and full of muscles, and call him Drax the Destroyer. And he was sort of like a carbon copy alien version of the Incredible Hulk. And then they decided to dumb him down, until now they finally, they killed him off, but have him reborn again, with all those red tattoos in his body, and carrying blades, and become the same character that we all knew and loved from the movie. And one thing about them, about Drax the Destroyer, he does kind of make me think about how autistic people are. Well, not autistic, but ones with Asperger's. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you see, Drax, his people they take every word seriously. They don't understand sarcasm, they don't understand metaphors, and they don't understand analogies. Metaphors goes over his head. Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are so fast, I could catch it. Booyah! But, you know, it just reminds me so much of Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory. I mean, if you pay attention to the show, his personality is a lot like Asperger's. As for me being autistic, I understand metaphors, I understand sarcasm, and I'm the master of analogies. So, but of course there are different ones, so there might be some autistic kids who don't understand metaphors or analogies or sarcasm. But one thing I do have a problem with, sometimes when somebody gives me a rhetorical question, I just have to answer. But of course, it's the tone they say it. I mean, if I knew it was a sarcastic tone, I mean, if they say it with a sarcastic tone, I understand it. But if they're not saying it with a sarcastic tone, that's when I thought I'm answering the question, even though it's rhetorical. So, I might be a little dense on that one. But at least I master the analogies, where you compare things. Anyway, back to the story here. Gamora and Nebula, the blue bald woman, played by the same actress who plays Amelia Pond on Doctor Who, my favorite show. Anyway, their story was very similar to the comics, except one thing I do have a problem with Gamora. In the comic books, if you look at some of the old comic books of Gamora, they made her look like a space stripper. I mean, what? Did her and Starfire shop in the same store? So I was pretty glad they made her look decent throughout the movie. And the same thing with Nebula. And of course, Gamora do think of Nebula as a sister. But one thing I do have about this movie... Oh, yeah. And, one thing about the movie... Oh, heck. What am I saying? How about I just do a lot for the comic and the movie, huh? One thing I would like to say to you folks is, if any of you wanted to read any of the comic books and you want to start it from scratch, I would say that, this comic book, made back in 1969, doesn't have Star-Lord or any of the characters that you know and love. This here is the original Guardians of the Galaxy from the comic. It doesn't have Star-Lord in it, but it has Starhawk, a.k.a. Stekar, Martix, Aleta Agord, played by Michelle Yeoh on the second movie. Charlie 27, played by Ving Rhames. Oh yeah, Sylvester Stallone plays Starhawk. And Martinez, that's played by the same actor who played Lex Luthor in Smallville, and also did the voice of the Flash. And Mainframe, the talking robot head, voiced by Molly Cyrus. God, I hate her. And of course that red dragon looking guy, Cougar. And of course, Yondu. They were the original Guardians of the Galaxy from this comic. But instead, in the second movie, they made them become Ravagers. And they ignored Yondu because he broke the code of the Ravagers They're not allowed to deal with kids. That was their code. That wasn't in the comic book, that was in the movie. But after the death of Yondu, the original team decided to give him a proper funeral by shooting their space fireworks out in the stars. Which I have to say was very emotional. But if you want to start from scratch and read some comic books of the Guardians of the Galaxy that you know from the movie, I suggest read this one. They're the new issue, they've been around since 2008, and they're like the ones from the comic. Of course, there are other characters in this comic book that they didn't mention in the movie. Like there is Adam Warlock, that you saw the birth pod at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Adam Warlock, he's supposed to be a sovereign alien person, like those golden aliens, except he's supposed to be wise and mystical and has one of the Infinity Stone on his forehead. And that's what made him powerful. And of course, there's this female version of Adam, which her name escapes me, sorry, folks. And of course, Cosmos, the dog that you saw in the first and second movie. Here's one thing they didn't do in the movie that it was in the comic. Cosmos is actually one of the members of the Guardians, and he's a Russian dog, and he telepathically communicates with them. So he communicates with other people with his mind. And here's a little known history. You know the ship that Star-Lord flies into, called the Milano? Little known secret, James Gunn, the creator of Guardians of the Galaxy, he had a huge childhood crush with the famous 80s teen Melissa Milano. So, obviously, he has the hots for Melissa Milano. Gosh. If I had a spaceship, I know exactly what I'm going to call it. The Coleman. You know, Jetta Coleman from Doctor Who. I like her. But at least I can name her, I can name the ship Coleman in my comic books that I mentioned in my last review. Seriously, I really love her. She's really pretty. I said it once and I'll say it again. No wonder the Doctor called her the Impossible Girl, because she is impossibly cute. Now, I have one issue in Volume 2. You see, when they're going to make a movie, and I heard Kurt Russell's going to be playing Star-Lord's father, and this one gets me into this. Meaningless fanboy gripes! In the original comic books, I know who Star-Lord's father really is, and it's not who you think it is in the second movie. You see, Star-Lord's real father is this guy. Jason. J''S''O''N. Jason. That is Star-Lord's real father. And of course, in his story in the comic book, he's a warrior and a king of his own planet. And he didn't put a tumor in Star-Lord's mother's brain. That was made up in the movie. He just ditches her, that's it. While all the other aliens trying to assassinate him and Peter Quill. And when I heard that Kurt Russell was supposed to be playing Star-Lord's father, I thought he was supposed to be playing Jason. But instead, they had him play somebody else. Dang this wind. Instead, they're saying that Peter Quill's real father is this guy. Ego, the living planet. What the heck, man? And for those of you who don't know, Ego, he's a living entity who pretty much is born as a living planet. That's why they call him Ego, the living planet. And he does have a few creatures born in his planet, but he controls them. But of course, he ain't the only one. There are other characters. Like, Ego has another planet named Id. But seriously, they just took the original story of Jason, Star-Lord's real father. Instead, they just made him into the living planet instead. And that is the end of my meaningless fanboy gripes. Can't believe it. But anyway, all in all, it was a good movie, and very emotional, and a lot of fun. And I still love that one scene from the first movie, where Ronan says, "You're immortal! How?" And Peter says this, "You said it yourself, witch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy." Of course, it's me, it'd be more like this. Dang these batteries. Honestly, I do need batteries. But anyway, since Guardians of the Galaxy got so popular, they decided to make a Disney DX. Of course, I don't know why it's called that. Anyway, Disney DX decided to... I mean, they had the Guardians of the Galaxy appeared in Avengers Assemble, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes, until they finally did in series, where now it's focusing on them, since Volume 2 came out, and it is the cartoon series of Guardians of the Galaxy. Which I have to say, they stick to the comics this time. But, naturally, I rather like to play a video game of Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they did appear in the... They did appear on Lego Marvel Superheroes. I love that game, it was pretty fun. But they also had the Guardians appear in Disney Infinity Marvel version, until they finally made a video game. It's a little bit like Mass Effect, but it's created by the same company who did those Walking Dead games, Telltale Games, and it's Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series, which is available on PlayStation 4, and that's the game system I don't have, if I ever get the thing working or get myself a new one. So this is my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I get confused between Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy, okay? So, cut me some slack. All in all, these two Guardian movies, they were really good. They were pretty awesome, and you can check them out yourself. As for me, now I hear that the Guardians are going to show up on the Avenger Infinity War, and they're going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So I hope they're going to be showing some more. And I have one gripe. They should have one of the members of the Nova Corps be a member of the Guardians. Either Richard Rider, the original character, he's like the, he's like the Hal Jordan of the Nova Corps, since the Nova Corps is like the Green Lantern Corps in the Marvel Universe. Either Richard Rider or Sam Alexander from Ultimate Spider-Man and among other things he appeared in. Seriously, they should have a Nova Corps member be the Guardians. But that's just one thing. But it's cool to see Adam Warlock and all. And you know, somebody should do a prequel series of Guardians of the Galaxy with the original Ravager team. I mean, heck, I would have called it Guardians of the Galaxy, The Ravagers. Be a backstory before Yondu died and before they kicked Yondu out. Sort of like a backstory of how they all got together and all. So, for any of you who likes this video, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe, and sorry it took a little bit longer, but there was a lot I want to talk about. So, stay tuned if it gets warmer. It's so cold. Anyway, see you soon.